lot of challenges in our life. So we are understanding Panchdasi. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadutchate Purnasya Purnamadai Purnamiva Vashishyate. So this Shanti mantra rightly presents what? It presents the highest state of consciousness. It says this is whole, means this is all pervading. So whatever manifests in that will also be whole. We need a perception. We need a right perception. I see the wave as a name in the form. This is perception by the sense organ. But if we go a little deeper, we find the wave is also a water. So this is whole and that is also a whole. So that is why I just created an acronym for this mantra, W, the wholeness of existence. That is the first message. Second is the unity of creation. Unity. Unity means what is manifest is also representing that existence which we are not able to see. Just think for a while. Just think. There is no space. Can I exist? Answer is no. I cannot exist if there is no space. So what I feel I exist, now go to the what I feel I have body, mind, intellect, ego. Oh, is this existence? No, it is constantly changing. It is constantly changing. So the third message of this mantra is the immutability, immutable. Absolute is immutable. I see myself as the body mind complex. I don't see what is the real existence. Body exists because of existence. Mind exists because of existence. Thought exists because of that existence. This mantra summarizes the entire teaching of this text, which contains 15 chapters, but it is difficult to understand unless we go through all the chapters. Then what happens? If this is absolute and that is absolute, it means there is a non-dual consciousness. Non-duality. Non-duality means what? How many spaces we have? There is only one space. So that is non-duality. And from that non-duality, we come to an understanding that it is only the real self, only the pure consciousness is the ultimate reality of this entire manifest universe, which remains hidden behind the manifest. Where there is a manifestation, if I become aware of that unmanifest is hidden behind it, this is whole. So that is why that is also whole. This is whole. That is why I, you, and me are the whole. And so the peace and peace and peace, peace. That is the message of this mantra. So we have understood what we have understood. We have understood by the three states of the consciousness. What are the three states of the consciousness? Sleep state, waking state, dream state. And we have understood that there is one common factor, and that common factor is the consciousness. So the Master beautifully says, days, weeks, months, years passes, but that consciousness remains unchanged. It is eternal. It is the source, or it is happiness, it is consciousness, it is existence. So for the sake of understanding, we gave it a three words. Sat is existence, Chit is consciousness, and bliss is permanent happiness. Now, as the master goes on explaining, then we have covered, I think, 10 verses. Yes. From the 11th to the 14th verse, uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 verses explains about happiness. I want to be happy. I wake up in the morning and I am stressed and anxiety. I identified myself with anxiety. That's why I don't experience that happiness. That is one way to say. Or I say, because of impressions, past impressions that veiled my real nature, that is why I'm not happy. Third reason, because I find there must be something to make me happy. My honey, my car, my dress, money. That should, so I feel a sense of hollowness and emptiness. On one day we find, oh, I'm alone, what lonely, what should I do? On the other day, I feel that I don't have enough money. On the third day, I feel I don't have the car that I've been desiring. You see, the hollowness, emptiness is common. Emptiness, sense of anxiety is common. And because why? Why? Now you explain it. Yeah, I'm seeking car, I'm seeking wealth, and I'm seeking relationship. I feel lonely. Oh, that is why I'm unhappy. No, common factor is my hollowness. I don't see that the happiness is inside me. That is why I'm searching the thing outside. Even a person who starts thinking this way, that unhappiness, that hollowness is going to dissolve. I should think it again and again what I'm searching for. Any object, event, situation, life, oh, everything. So that triggering in the mind first is a realization that I'm not happy inside. You will say, no, what about the food? Yes, we separate it. For physical survival. For physical survival, yes. Physical means the physical body. The physical body has to be nourished by the physical things outside. We are talking of happiness. So there is a some feeling, or there is some, you can say, the thought and awareness or desire. I feel the sense of hollowness. That is why I'm running into the objects of the world for happiness. That is our topic today. We all are seekers of happiness. Animals are programmed by the nature to be happy. Food, sex, sleep, finish. We have these impressions also, but we also have an past impression that comes to the mind. Sometimes it takes over my sense organs. For animals, a past impression doesn't take over. They are impulsive in nature, they follow it. But we have a mixture, past impression plus the nature. So sometimes the nature dominates and dictates. So we have an obsession. That is what is known as, but sometimes we project. He is my brother. You don't dare to touch. This is an impression. You see that past impression? Oh, he is my brother. He is a great teacher. Do whatever you want to do. You see that. See the two factors. Very, very important, but very simple in that we do not understand. Oh, he is my employee. How dare you touch? He is my friend. Oh, now he's no longer my friend. Look at it. So the impression interferes my sensual perception. That is why on Thursday's session we discussed about that our mind can be purified by karma yoga. Leave that. So come to the happiness. Let us understand the nature of happiness and its source. This is in these four verses. The role of consciousness in experiencing happiness. Then we will discuss the difference between temporary pleasure and the lasting happiness. The impact of desires and attachment on our experiences of happiness. You see that you can, if we contemplate and reflect on these issues, and then we see the concept of projection and reflection. Projection, mind becomes unconscious. Reflection, mind wants to leave the impurity. Reflection in perceiving happiness. And then the relationship between the mind, objects, and happiness. So if we understand these things, these 4, 5 aspects, 6 aspects are clearly understood by this master. So let us see from where we should start. First, let's start with the contact with an object. Contact with an object we like or we dislike. We lose awareness. Here he might be saying to the maid, don't give me this, I told you. Give me that. So you see, that has a liking and this has a dislike. So we are going little deeper. Pay attention. So the first factor is the contact with the world outside. World outside means object, people, situation, thing. So mind is habituated or it triggers because of its past knowledge with an object I should come in contact that gives me happiness, or I should come with this person or object gives me unhappiness. Ask, ask yourself why it is so. Why it is so. iPhone and the Android phone both are the same. After all, phone, the utility is the same. No, no, I like the texture. I like it is very smooth. You see? So main factor is liking. Oh, liking. So from where the liking comes, liking is present in the mind. So we are not going that why the hell mind likes. That we will discuss later. Just restrict your understanding that I like, it gives me happiness. I dislike, it gives me unhappiness. With any object, with any person, situation, people, thing, anything, any event. So that is that we are talking about the happiness, its source, temporary happiness, permanent happiness. We are just going deep. So now we understood that liking or disliking has to be there in my mind before it gives me happiness or unhappiness. Let us move further. So, okay, now we are not going into that why we have a liking and disliking. So, a particular object gives you happiness. Does it give you permanent happiness? We want happiness in our life. No, I feel lonely, then I should have a relationship. Okay, so relationship. By relationship, you'll always be happy. We're asking a genuine question. Permanent happiness. Yes, as long as I am in contact with that person, that event, that object, I experience happiness. But once that contact is dropped, my happiness also goes up. I like my iPhone. For example, I don't have an iPhone. I don't have a liking. You see, again, like. So even when we say, I like iPhone, that gives me happiness, but that does not give you happiness all the time. And sometimes your hand is touching the iPhone and still the happiness is not there. So two things are there that we need to explore in every object. If you do it for about a week, the life is going to change. Oh, yes, first time I bought a phone, it makes me happy. It feels very smooth, dear. I look like it's very good. But the same phone I'm keeping in my hand, it does not give me happiness. You see how the master explains? That is the beauty of this Eastern wisdom. It has two factors. Two factors. What I like, what I like gives me happiness. Clear? I am just writing in order to save this, what I taught today. Second factor, that happiness, that level or degree of happiness goes on decreasing. with that object. You pick up any object, you pick up any person. First time matters, and now it has been couple of years. First time touching of what I like gives me the happiness. So on the scale, now be scientific. On the scale, first time what I like, it is in my hand. For example, phone. On the scale of the 1 to 10, my happiness is 10. After a week, the happiness is 9. After a few weeks, the happiness is 2 or 3. And after 6 months, I have a lot of stress in still keeping the phone in my hand. Happiness is not there. Do you see that? Look at it. You just start thinking in this way, and you will see that you'll have a bigger smile on your face. Oh my goodness, yes. What we were discussing and trying to understand that as such, there is no permanent happiness even when I come in contact with any object, any person, any relationship, anything, any event or situation. Same situation which used to give me, which I used to feel is the source of ultimate happiness, is not that happiness. So I want to inquire why it happens. Is the iPhone attracts me? It contains that happiness. That is why it attracts me in the beginning. And after that, after cheating me, the same iPhone does not give me any happiness. That may be one reason. But but it is not possible because that phone is unconscious. Even in relationship, I perceive the presence of the body and the mind gives me the happiness. Answer is no. But I experience the happiness inside myself, inside my mind, inside me, after all. It is not inside the iPhone, it is not inside the house or the car. That is very clear because I'm a conscious entity, and the phone and body mind is also an unconscious entity in case of relationship. Then, then, then where? I become happy, and on the scale of 10 to 1 to 10, after a few months, it becomes 1, and sometime it becomes 0. Sometimes we throw even the iPhone. It means that there is a projection, imagined happiness. So my mind is running with an imagined happiness, and that imagined happiness is triggered by liking. I like iPhone, so I should be happy if I possess. Or you look at a girl and a boy, oh, if I marry this boy and a girl, I'll be happy. That is also an imagined projection. And that is how we live our life daily. Daily. I like this, I don't like this. In terms of the food and situation and event and relationship. Oh, you see the analysis, the way master is doing the analysis. I have taken few verses from the 15th chapter to talk about it, and then I will explain you the first these four verses from verse number 11 to 40, because I have studied and understood the entire text. So that gives the holistic picture. You are simply studying the first chapter. So I have taken from it so that I can corroborate. Oh, yes, you are right. So we can say that it is imagined or it is projected happiness, which I experience. The mind, if the mind fulfills that imagined projection, obviously I will be happy. If Terry does what my mind has already thought of it, it makes me happy. So that is also an imagined projection. Or Dennis does the same thing which I think. Look at it. Look at it. So that idea is shattered once we possess that object, once we start living with a person in relationship, which I imagined happiness, gradually that imagined happiness dissolves. Ha, ha. But one thing is there. Look at it, the in-depth understanding, and one thing is there. So until now, if you don't believe, belief pending inquiry, and still, for example, if you don't believe as a seeker that after all, one thing is clear. What is one thing is clear? I experience happiness. You have analyzed in the scale of 10 to 1 to 10. Okay, I agree with you. So this master also is taking care of a non-seeker. The non-seeker says, I agree with you fully. First time it is a scale of 10 and then it goes to 1. And I also agree that I'm keeping the iPhone, which used to make me happy, in my hand, and still I have a lot of stress. But one thing is clear, I experience happiness. Whether you say it coming in contact with that object or eating that object or living into with that person, but I experience the happiness. Even if you say it is a short-term happiness, even if you say it is pleasure, I still experience that pleasure. Look at it. So we are going, oh, okay, yes. So the master gives you such a beautiful answer. We need to reflect on it. First answer, you already got it from the last 10 verses. We are not going there. So he gives another reason. What is the previous reason? You already do. Knowledge of an object or object of knowledge. Object of happiness or happiness of object. So happiness of object, obviously, it is in pasta, it is in phone, it is in a person. So we are not going there. The master says that, oh, that argument and that understanding is only for dream, sleep, and waking stage. So what is the answer? I like latest iPhone. This is a thought. When I told you in the very beginning, hollowness is already there within me. So I have already imagined, have projected happiness in the iPhone. There is a gap. iPhone is there and I am here. I have to make an effort to get the iPhone. Clear? Or I have to make an effort to eat pasta or get a car or a house, whatever the object of the world. I'm answering that question, what the non-seeker is asking. So I have a desire to get the iPhone. Desire is a thought associated with a feeling. My mind keeps on thinking about it subconsciously, habitually. I need to have a money, I need to go to that. So the entire planning is further projected. So acquiring and possessing an iPhone, I have millions of the thoughts that has already agitated the mind. Are you getting? That is what happens in our daily life. So those millions of the thoughts working on possessing a particular object from the world outside because of projected happiness, I have millions. So what the millions of thoughts are doing, it has hesitation, it has already agitated my mind. So because of that desire seeking happiness, my mind is already agitated. I'm making it simple today. So the master says to the non-seeker, did you understand? Yes, I understood. I already have an hesitation. So you are asking that after all, I experience the happiness. Yes, my dear, you will definitely experience the happiness the moment the iPhone comes to your hand. All your hesitation stops. Because of absence of hesitation, the mind is empty and it reflects the happiness from inside that you claim as a pleasure from acquiring life. Yes, you experience the happiness not by acquiring life, but your mind is agitated with millions of the thoughts and a feeling associated with the liking of iPhone and acquiring it and possessing. So all those thoughts comes to an end, your hesitation drops. Because of the absence of hesitation, because the iPhone in your hand is there, you acquired it. So for a few seconds, mind becomes empty, and that emptiness reflects that inner happiness, which still you are living in ignorance that you are still projecting on iPhone. The master says, I have already told you on the scale of 1 to 10. Happiness is not there. Did you understand? So for anything, whether it is a sex or inquiring, getting the iPhone or a car or a house, uh, or doing any act which seeks the pleasure and happiness from the world outside is not there. By possessing, by thinking, by liking, by projecting happiness in the worldly object or a person and making an effort, first you create a heightened state of hesitation. That is what happens in obsession and addiction also. I smoked, I'm happy. After 10 minutes, no, I'll just come back again. You see, that upset is there. So I will go back again. Trigger is there for coffee, or for tea, for anything. That trigger hesitates my mind. No, no, if I don't have the coffee, what should I do? Let me have it. What a genius way of understanding. The more and more we think and contemplate, our mind drops all those hesitation which has been created by the likes and dislikes. That is why what we say, objectless state of the mind is meditation. Is the object of knowledge. Objectless state of the mind is meditation. Why? Because there is a continuous inflow, outflow of that happiness from the real self. Why the real self? Real self is of the nature of absolute existence, consciousness, and bliss. So if I don't think in this way, now go back again to the square one. If I don't think in this way, when I don't think in this way, nature has already programmed. That is where I started. Nature is programmed through the sense organ like animals. So either I become an animal being or I get caught into likes and dislikes, projection and imagination. And you see, going to my job gives me happiness because of the money I earn. Ah, how about your job? I have lot of stress. No, I don't want to go. One guy here nearby my house, he came to me. I don't want to go to my house because, I hate my wife. But I have a problem. I cannot divorce. You see, likes, dislikes, hesitation in my mind. But he doesn't know even you divorce your wife on the scale of 1 to 10. First is 10 after 1. Why don't you solve the problem of your mind? Why you are going there? He says, then he said, I'll come back and I will understand it again. But one thing is clear that without the divorce, I cannot live happily. But then there is a problem. If I divorce, I will lose my house. House gives me the happiness. My hesitation continues. So the master is saying you just analyze, observe, and perceive all those hesitation you acquired habitually by the nature. Get rid of it. You'll be happy. You don't need to be dependent on anything outside. Look at Look at the genius we have. External triggers for happiness. Let us see in a different perspective. External triggers, we already know it. Seeing your partner makes you smile. Hugging your partner makes you smile. But on a given day, if you dislike neither hugging nor the presence, gives you the happiness. That happiness. So to hug, I have some trigger already present in the mind. So why that trigger? Because of liking, attachment, and desire. Attachment, liking, desire to seek happiness outside. Did you understand? Simple thing that I develop a desire for partner's presence, attaching my happiness to him or her. That is what I'm trying to explain. So what I'm doing in this, I'm projecting happiness. I'm constantly, my mind is projecting happiness. So see the projection. So why I'm projecting the happiness and why I'm acting? So projecting the happiness, I totally forgot. My mind says it is real happiness. I always see when I see my honey and I uh, hand in hand, one couple comes to me and they always kiss each other at least 50 times, even if they spend 2 hours. They come for some time, I invite them for lunch. They are good couple. But that level of projection is already there. They talk something and ultimately lip to lip. Now, I'm not in favor or against of anything. So what is that hesitation of doing it 50 times in 2 hours? Desire fulfillment. And why desire fulfillment? For happiness. But why happiness? Because my false eye, that is one way to say, my false eye says I will be happy if I do this. So false I is strongly present, so real self is veiled. It may have come in America, it may have come because of cultural influences. It's okay. Or expression of affection. But now it has become an illness. And from that illness, I am happy. But there is an inconsistency by this act. There is a lot of inconsistency of happiness from this kind of a desire fulfillment. So I have an inability to generate a happiness in all the time because of this act. I'm not happy. Sometimes I'm not happy with the honey, so I won't do it. So that gives me a frustration and disillusionment. And that frustration and delusion, then I go to a psychiatrist or psychotherapist for a counseling session. I'm just, that is what I've seen. So what happens, when I go to psychotherapist, I'm trying to cope. Psychotherapist gives you a coping mechanism. It does not give you the root cause. Oh, now the time has come that you should divorce and remarry. So we will start with the same issues again. That causes that. So this is what we are going to understand in the 4 verses. I have yet to explain you those 4 verses. I'll repeat this session again next week. But anyhow, close your eyes are closed. So I said something that there is an objectless state of the mind. Do I need to acquire it or it is already present? It is already present. If there is no projection, it will, my mind is already objectless. Just see the beauty of this understanding. There is no, so all the thoughts are projected, yes. In that respect, one comparison, animals are happy. They don't have the past impressions to project. We have lot of past impressions to project. Lot of information gathering system is so deep. So I'm simply, so what is this objectless state? That objectless state is nothing but it is a space. So I'm just taking you in a different way. The space is there. The space does not mean that it is above your head, it is everywhere. Become aware of the space. Be aware of the space. Space is awareness, and awareness is space. You have to prove this statement. And if you prove this statement, you are already in the objectless state of mind. Now I'm aware of the body. Yes, be aware of the body. It is surrounded by this space. So that is one approach to do so. We can also follow the other approach. The many galaxies, many solar system cannot be present without the space. So you are aware of this space, surrounded, galaxies surrounded by this space, the way I am surrounded by this space. There is hardly any difference. My house is surrounded by this space. When you add adjectives, so we got rid of the adjectives. Oh, what a galaxy, millions of years it will take to reach. No, we are not going there. Let that be a job of Elon Musk. It's not our job. Our job is to see, does that emptiness continues to exist or not? Why? I can experience the objectless state of the mind. That is what we are. Okay, we have understood galaxy still surrounded by this space. Our solar system's surrounded by this space. Our Earth planet is surrounded by this space. What is the catch here? The master says you cannot recognize any object of name and the form if it is not surrounded by the space. And what I said, space is awareness, awareness is space. I cannot recognize my phone if it is not separated from the other objects. Another expression. But how it is separated by other objects? Because of this space. Oh, you're right. So the earth is surrounded by this. My house is surrounded by this space. Just become aware of the house surrounded by this space outside and also the space inside. You need not to empty the mind. You need to be aware of what already exists. That is the higher journey of meditation or mindfulness. What already exists. Okay, so no, just hold on. All the walls also contains the space. Oh yes, all the walls also contains the space. I have sensation in the body. No, okay. You name the body. Be aware of the space surrounding the body. I told you But I cannot know, recognize any object if it is not surrounded by space. Whether space is awareness and awareness is space. That awareness is nothing but the consciousness. Do you mean to say that consciousness through the mind, in the absence of projection, becomes aware of the space? In the presence of the projection, my mind is focused on that object with its qualities of liking and disliking. Projection continues. That is the only difference. For example, my sense organ perceive cherry. Only the sense organ perceive cherry consciously. Wonderful. But it perceives with many projections. What is that projection? One is a default projection. She is a woman. Two perceptions. Now look at the third perception. What is the third person? Surrounded by the space, minus man or women. Then this name and the form, inside there is a space. Every cell there is a space. So I used to tell you that whether millions of birds are flying in the sky, nothing happens to the sky. Oh, it means space is not outside, but it is all pervading. It is only one. So I see the image of the Terry on the space without mind distorting my projection. Then I see the same way, same space on which the name in the form of Dennis is present. I told you it does not disturb the space, like the birds do not disturb the space. Oh, so I see the three names in the form. One is Dennis, other is Terry, third is me. What is left is only the space, infinite space. You're not making an effort. You're not trying to do anything. You just look at it clearly. Your perception, perception by the senses governed by the nature, perception of this by the senses governed by the nature plus my projection. Second perception, now third perception, you see. You see, that is how the journey of Eastern wisdom works. So perception by the sense organ as it is, with a perception from what is right and good. That is dharma. That is what the Buddha says. So what is right and good? It leads to right perception. So that purifies the mind. I'm not looking because of any projection. So where I land up? Just a name in the form. Outside there is a space, and inside there is a space. Like the birds flying in the space, nothing happens to the space. Oh, nothing happens to that space, but the space is consciousness, and consciousness is the space. So why I say so? That I cannot recognize any object if the if that object is not surrounded by the consciousness, there will be no recognition. Oh, there will be no recognition. Yes. So am I meditating to recognize an object? No. So I lose sense of liking and disliking. Yes. Then what? Consciousness is the ultimate reality. So instead of so many projections, the mind continues to invite the thought associated with the feeling. Oh, that is the problem I experience. That is not a problem. The birds are still flying. You are aware of the space only. You have understood, you have realized that the space has to be there. So by recognizing lot of the thoughts, you see it behind, you see the space behind it. Where is the problem? So factually, you are doing nothing. Right perception. That's another way we can interpret teachings of the Buddha, the first of the Eightfold Noble Paths. He says right perception. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences, and bring the hands down. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you. I will summarize today's session like this. I experience happiness because the mind temporarily calms down when it comes in contact with a desired object. So the happiness is related to the calmness of the mind and not to the desired object and not to the desire in general. When desires are less, then thoughts are less, then the distractions of the mind are less, and the happiness is more.
Beautifully summarized. Beautifully summarized. Desires are less, thoughts are less, mind is less agitated, so it has some time to reflect on inside instead of focusing on the object and the people and the relations outside. So you live into that state. Now with that state, you are looking at your honey. You're already in happiness. And the honey is with you. The honey perceives you are happy because of him and her. Let it be so. Let it be so. If the honey does not want to understand, let it be so. Oh, my presence makes you happy. Yes, honey. Beautifully. How are you, Terry?
Um, I'm related to the whole thing in a different way because most because I don't really most things like a phone. I don't care about it. I don't even like it.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to relate to the example. I had to try to figure a different example. Um, like my lunch. I do care about that.
Care
So,
means liking.
but at one point you said that something about the emptiness of the mind was able to reflect the happiness that's in. I can't remember how you put it though. That if your mind is empty,
Yes.
your natural happiness is able to
While
show.
while teaching, we say if the mind is empty. And empty means the space. Space is all pervading. And the space cannot be destroyed by any object which contains it. What it means, mind is always empty. Mind is always empty. I have to simply recognize it. But what I recognize all my thoughts, what I like, what I dislike, where I have to react, where I have not to react, all the past impressions and the nature's programming and the imagined and projections outside. So again, we have to understand, we have to go further. Or it means my mind is already already full of all those. Still, you have the emptiness. It is not disturbing that space. How we already understood that the space cannot be destroyed. The space is all pervading. So the mind has such a billions of impressions. My honey, my car, my food, my phone, and my background. I am of this age, and this gender. Mind is so much full of those thoughts. It picks up a thought, it picks up an object, and then it overlooks. It fills that. It seemingly fills that space. You cannot fill that space. It is always there.
Mhm.
That brings us to a conclusion and a principle that meditation is not a practice. Because if you are doing if you are doing a practice of anything, any step, you are filling it. Are you getting it, Dennis? You are still filling it.
Mhm.
So, don't do it. Don't fill it. But that is the journey on Saturdays. This follows one principles, and Mondays and Thursdays, no, you have to do it. That follows another principle. So we have 5 or 6 different sets of principles on which the entire Eastern wisdom is based. Oh, you have the impurity of the mind. That is why you need to purify the mind. So you have to follow it. You have to do the karma yoga. But here, karma yoga doesn't apply because you are at a much higher level. Anyhow, that is all. Thank you very much. We will meet on Monday now.